Welcome to the Collaborative. I'm your host, Sydnee Walker. Today we are joined by Chris Thorkilsen. Chris currently serves as a coordinator on the Global Partnerships Activation Team for the Atlanta Hawks and State Farm Arena. He has helped contribute by bringing in multiple awards for the organization, including back-to-back NBA Team Partner of the Year awards from Anheuser-Busch, Ultra Courtside of the Year award, and for the NBA 2K League's Best Livestream program. In 2024, Chris was named to Jezebel Magazine's 40 Under 40 issue. He graduated with a BA in Public Relations from Quinnipiac University. Welcome.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the intro.
First up, we have Sid's This or That Atlanta edition. I'll give you a few options and you'll tell me your preference and why. First, Chick-fil-A or Zaxby's?
My friend's going to kill me for this, but Chick-fil-A.
Originally, I would have said Chick-fil-A, but their chicken's been a little sus lately, so I'm going with Zaxby's.
Okay, yeah, I've only been to Zaxby's once, and it was like a to-go order, so I need to give it another shot, I think.
Falcons or Braves?
Falcons.
I'm with you on that one. Buckhead or Midtown?
I live in Buckhead, so let's roll with that.
Good choice. And then last but not least, Gunna or Future?
I'm gonna say Future.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a big Future fan. I mean, it's like neck and neck. Like it's not a big difference. So yeah, but gotta give credit to Future. He's the OG and he's still going.
Yeah, that's a tough one, but Future has some really good hits.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about your college experience. Partnerships is typically an area of the business you don't learn about in detail. Was there a class you took or a memorable project that helped you realize a career like this is possible?
At Quinnipiac University, where I went to school, which is up in Connecticut. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar or have heard of it, but I liked Quinnipiac because it was close to New York and close to Boston, so there was a lot of internship opportunities there, and they also had a good communications school. So I wanted to go to school for communications because I grew up around a media background with my parents both being in the media business. So, at Quinnipiac, I was a PR major and a sports studies minor. And for my PR capstone class, we actually got to do a PR campaign for a professional soccer team in the NPSL called Elm City Express. So we got to build out, a full, PR campaign, including, events and implementation, marketing materials, and I thought it was a really good experience because we were actually working with the team itself and got to present our final project in front of the team. So me and two other colleagues, worked together on this project throughout our, first semester of our senior year. And I just fell in love with the whole process around it. It didn't really feel like work to me because I got to give back, to a professional sports team in the city that we were, going to college in. So it felt like something that, I could see myself pursuing, as a career. So I got to give credit to our, Quinnipiac University's School of Communications because they do a great job of connecting students with, real-time organizations in the area, and you're doing a lot of class work with these organizations. So, that project in particular really led me to wanting to pursue a career in sports and entertainment.
That's amazing that you were able to get that real world experience so early on and really pursue that career and know that's what you wanted to do. I read in a previous article that you always loved sports and dreamed of a career that would enable you to explore your interests. Now that you're living out that dream, what's the most rewarding part of working in partnerships?
It's a great question. So I would say the ability to being able to benefit and impact multiple different businesses. So not only just our business, but the partner's business itself, and bringing together something that is really extraordinary. At sometimes we do a lot of work in the community and work just in general in Atlanta, and it's been great for me to be able to experience how it's impacting not only our business but the partners' business as well. So I've got to experience it all. I've worked with the Hawks now for about 5 years now, so got to work with a lot of different partners and organizations across Atlanta. And I've met a lot of great people, and I think another big thing is the people you meet in partnerships. You work with so many different departments across the organization, such as marketing, ticket sales, basketball operations, basketball programming. So you're understanding how different departments operate and work, and then also seeing how you can also bring those departments into your line of business with partnerships. So it's a great way to really meet a lot of people within the company, along with other people at different businesses across the industry. So it's a really good way to expand your connections and network.
I liked how you touched on the cross functionality of it because a lot of people don't understand what all goes into your role and just work with all the different departments to bring a game day experience to life. So a major part of your role is sourcing and hosting talent for various activations, including the award-winning Michelob Ultra Courtside experience. As someone who is constantly engaging with influencers, how do you determine who is a good fit for the Hawks and State Farm brand?
When I first started, doing this whole activation, this was about 4 or 5 years ago. We were working with Budweiser at the time, and we had these courtside seats that we unveiled that were, these furry chairs in partnership with Big Boy from Outkast, because he wanted to roll out, these cans to the Atlanta community. So our job was to activate it, and it started as a fan promo where my role as a trainee at the time was to find fans to come sit in the seats that were drinking these tall boy cans in the crowd, and upgrading their experience. So we were going to get rid of the promotion after about 2 months of doing it, just because it had an end date. But given the fact that we had this location on the court and influencer marketing was a pillar of Anheuser-Busch's marketing strategy, I was enamored with the idea of inviting celebrities to sit in these seats, because they're so unique to our arena. So at the time, I reached out to my manager and I was like, hey, I think it'd be a really good fit if we could start bringing out celebrities to come sit in these seats. And she was like, yeah, I mean, if you can get people to come out that would be interested, I'd say run with it. And at the time, I had like little to no connections. I knew some people, but I was kind of just going out on Instagram and inviting people cold through DMs. Sometimes the talent themselves, which I've learned is like really not the best route to go, because some of these celebs don't really check their Instagrams or DMs as much as they should. But it's just harder to get in touch. So I was able to get in touch with some managers and publicists in the industry, and it started out as just trying to figure out who we could get that at the time was available. A lot of people that live in Atlanta, so Atlanta is a hotbed for culture and entertainment, and I think that I realized that there's a lot of people within the city that we could bring out. So for me, like when it comes to looking as a fit, I think it really comes down to timing and like popularity of who it is. So for example, like this past year, we brought out Kai Cenat for the Hawks Lakers game. And the night before, he had just played 21 Savage in 2K and lost a ton of money, but it went viral on social media that night. So the next night we had him out at the Lakers game. We did a little, play on TikTok, and shout out to our social media team for, capturing this moment and coming up with the caption and everything they did to make it go viral. But we posted a video on our TikTok and we got over 50 million views. All these different brands, Sports Center, the NBA, Bleacher Report, House of Highlights, Barstool Sports, they all posted the video, and it's getting good value not only for us but for the partner. And I think we gained over a couple hundred or close to 150,000 followers on TikTok from that moment. So capitalizing on big moments, and then also finding people that are also like unique for the brand itself. So I'm always searching for talent or people that could be a good fit for our brand and also for the partner, because I do a lot with different partners, not just Michelob Ultra, but UPS, BMW, Hennessy. There's a bunch of different partners that we work with from a celebrity standpoint. So it's finding celebrities that are a good fit and mold for certain partners, along with for our brand as well. So there's a lot that plays into it, but it's something that we're looking to continue to expand upon and figure out how we can continue to capitalize on different categories of influencers and so forth. But I'm looking forward to what's to come with it for sure.
And on the topic of sourcing talent, networking plays a vital role, and not only those connections, but working in sports in general. You mentioned you started as a trainee and now you're a coordinator. How has networking helped you get to where you are today?
So I think that networking, when you start out, it's kind of like this weird subject, because it feels kind of forced when you go to like a networking event and you gotta put on your social hat and meet a bunch of people that you don't know. And for me, I think networking is something that should come naturally. And throughout your years of working in the industry, especially when you're moving to a new city. Like for me, when I moved to Atlanta, I had never been there before. I just wanted to work in the NBA, and I heard good things about the city and wanted to get involved. So I went out of my way to meet people and go to different events where I could meet more people. But for me, it was like all natural. It wasn't like I was going to a bunch of networking events. I was just going out in the city and then also connecting with people at work, hanging out with people at work. And networking is something that's been very important to me, especially when it comes to communicating with people that I haven't talked to in a while. So just from different companies I've worked at, like I still stay in touch with the people I worked back at Octagon with, even back at Quinnipiac as well. So and a lot of these contacts I've used with my job at the Hawks. So networking is definitely important, and the way you go about it is even more important. So there's a lot of different ways that networking has been important for me, but it's definitely something that I am very passionate about, and I try and do my best to continue to expand my network each day.
Yeah, that's great. And I think one thing people forget about is lateral networking. Like you mentioned, you're still in contact with your peers from college and even people from previous employers. So just always staying in contact with people. The basketball season is long and additional events take place year round. What are some ways you decompress in order to avoid burnout?
Yeah, so it's definitely a long season. This past season, I worked 39 home games. So I think that was the most games I worked in a season. So a lot of long nights and weekends. But I think the best thing about it is I just love to feel busy. So for me, during the season, it's like I get a lot of excitement about going to games, and because it's just another opportunity for me to meet more people. But I also understand the importance of getting rest and then finding ways to decompress. So one thing I started doing this year that I still have been doing on a weekly basis is I've been going to hot yoga. For me, there's a lot of benefits. One, you're sitting around all day at work. Sometimes, like obviously games, you're moving around a little bit, but the effects it can have on your back and your body, it isn't great. So doing things like hot yoga and working out are super important for me because it's not only beneficial from a physical standpoint, but a mental standpoint, it's super helpful because just from the classes itself, they're kind of spiritual, and then also like I think overall it's just something that something that I've taken and really run with this year. But also like to play a lot of golf, just like really finding things that you can do to like really focus on something without using your phone. So I never take my phone to these classes because even when I go work out, I'll have my phone with me. So if someone calls me, it'll throw off my whole workout. So doing things where you can separate your phone from yourself, because I feel like in this day and age we're so connected to our phones, and I definitely value my phone so much because it's helped me get to where I'm at today from a work standpoint. But there's other times where you really need to disconnect from it to help from a mental health standpoint as well.
Lastly, as you reflect on your career thus far, what's one thing you wish you knew when you were first getting started in the industry that you can share with our audience today?
I was actually talking about this with a couple of people I work with today, and I think the important thing that people understand, especially getting into the industry, is no one path is the same, and there's no like right or wrong path to getting to where you want to be. I personally, I when I was in college, I didn't work any sports related internships. I got a lot of out of the classes that I was taking, so I kind of used that experience and as like talking points when I would have interviews with certain employers. I also worked a lot of different internships while I was in college, but none of them were necessarily tied to sports. Now they were tied to media, but some people have a lot of sports experience going out of college. Some people don't. Some people have sports management degrees. There's no right or wrong path. It's all about the effort that you put into each day and how you go about your day, and how you want to carry yourself to get to that goal. I think is the most important part. But people come to me, they're like, oh, like, should I do this? Should I do that? Do whatever makes sense to you from like a personal standpoint first and foremost, because I hate when people get too tied up in thinking that there's one right path or wrong path. Like what matters the most is what you put into each day and how you know, get out of that. I think something that I've really, you know, have been passionate about because each one of my coworkers has a different path of how they got to the Hawks. No one path is the right path, but I think that as long as you keep your goal in mind, like every day, and you're doing something to get to that goal each time, I think is the best, you know, the way to go about it. I think that that's one thing I wish I learned, like getting into this industry, because I was worried, you know, just graduating because I knew I wanted to pursue a career in sports because I didn't have any real sports internship experience that I wasn't going to get there. But I wish I had, you know, talked to myself now, then now, because I would have learned a lot about, you know, what it takes to get there. And I think I'm definitely, you know, grateful of this journey that I've been on. And I encourage everyone to, you know, do something that they love, and, you know, regardless of where you're at or where you want to be, know that it's possible, and you can pursue that just by, you know, the effort that you put into each day and everything you get out of it.
Wow, that was extremely valuable. Thank you for sharing those words of wisdom. That was great advice. Chris, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with us tonight. This was by far one of my favorite sessions. I loved hearing about your journey from Quinnipiac to working with the Atlanta Hawks, and you provided extremely valuable advice. So I can't thank you enough for spending time with us this evening.
Anytime, appreciate you, and thank you all for tuning in. And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And I'm happy to set up any calls with anyone after the fact, or you know, reach out. But no, this was a pleasure, and I look forward to, you know, hearing what's to come with this. So thanks again for the opportunity.